Right guys, so today we are going to go ahead and install the cylinder head onto the block and start with this engine rebuild. As you can see, I've got the new head gasket, I've got a new head bolts, and I've got the old head gasket right here. I've got the torque spec sheet on here as well, and I've double checked it on here. I have my engine code CCZB appears on this, so that's good. The head bolts do look okay, they have the right shape on the head itself, so the socket can sit on it. What I'm going to do right now is get the old head gasket and basically, whilst this is still in this wrapper, match it up and make sure all the holes are lining up and there is no extra bits or anything that we shouldn't have on there. So right now I'm doing just so, and it's looking pretty good. We do not have anything extra hanging off. Everything is all in its own spot. Looking pretty good. I'm just going to take a picture on my other phone on this to make sure it's all okay. It definitely does look all okay. I can see that is there. Yes, yes, they are there. Yes, and yeah, looks good. Head bolts holes all line up. So yeah, this should be hopefully a very simple install. So stay tuned for this. Right, so as you can see, I've got the head gasket laid out here. I double checked it with that, and it is good. It is, all of the holes do match up and they all do indeed line up as well, so that's awesome. I'm just going to go ahead now and basically start putting it all together. Got the head bolts right here. That's what they look like. This is the special bit right here, and these are indeed made in Italy, which is the same as the original one. I think they were O-ring original as well, so all good. The way I'm going to do this, as you can probably see, these are dry. There is no lubrication on this. I'm going to get some engine oil and I'm going to wear some gloves, and I'm going to rub the engine oil into my hand, and then I'm going to rub all of these into my hand really quickly, so that adds a little bit of lubrication to it. So as I'm winding them in, there will be no binding, and as I'm torquing them down, there will be no false reading, because if I'm torquing it down, the binding, the torque wrench will click, but it will actually not be the torque that's supposed to be, so we're basically avoiding that. So let me go ahead and do that. Put the head gasket on the engine block, start doing this, prepare the head, and make our way from there. Right, so just put some brake cleaner on top of the engine. I'm gonna go ahead and clean the surface of it off as clean as possible. We need it to be very, very clean. Cleanliness is the most important part of an engine. Above anything else, when you're working on an engine, cleanliness is the most important part. Awesome. So the engine block is now ready. I'm just gonna quickly show you guys what I'm gonna do with these head bolts, but before I do that, let me quickly go ahead and do something about this right here. This is how I normally prepare, or I've been taught, or at least advised how to prepare on these head bolts. Like I said, you can probably see they're dry, so as you're going in, when you're torquing them down, you'll get false reading if you get binding happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of these into my hand, like so, like this, and then what I'll do, with my hands covered in oil, not dripping but just lightly, I'm going to go around rubbing them all in, and then put the head on them. Jobs are good. And so watch, put some oil on my hand, like so, on the gloves, like that. Rub my gloves in so they're nice and shiny like this, and then what I'm going to do is like that, put some into that, do the same on this, and do the same on that, and do the same on this, do the same on this, and do the same on this, Same on this. Then do the same on this. And then do the same on here as well, on the other one. Put a bit more, I think, because they want exactly that much. Hit this again, rub it in my hand again, just a little bit. That's more than enough. It's perfect. So you see I'm kind of doing like this. This will catch some of the oil out on it. That's awesome. Some of that as well. Lovely. Yep. And do the same on this. Yep. Do the same on that. Lovely. Same on that. And then the same on this as well. Now what you can also do as well, once you do all of that, is you get some oil. You can put it on the, you can specifically make sure to start on the tip. And then the same on this side as well, just like that, yep. The same on here. Same on that. Same on that. Same on that. Same on this. Same on that, just like so. So they're not dripping off, as you can probably see, they're not dripping with oil. There's not like drips physical, they're just been soaked up a little bit. And if you get them all in your hand like this now, and you rub them together, they're just going to share any of the oil between the two. Perfect. So that's perfect. That's literally just slightly coated. Spot on. That's perfect. Now it's ready for us to put the head gasket on there and then put the head on there. But before we do that, we got to clean the head and then we got to go from there. Cool. So we got a head gasket right here. Just going to go ahead and install this. I think this is quite a straightforward installation. Head is nice and clean. But there's two dowel points right here. Perfect. Nicely installed. I think we're just going to go ahead and clean the cylinder head now. Then we go from there. We put this on, cylinder head on this, put the bolts in that, and jobs are good. Just going to go ahead and take my new head out and start with the installation process. And here is the bad boy in all its glory. Before we do that, actually, one thing I need to do real quick is I need to get this and put it on here. So when I lay it open, there shouldn't be no problems with it. You get to take this off. The machine shop said to not use the Cambridge bolts, the ones on the new head. Use the old ones because these are apparently quite bad. Not bad, but they're not very well designed compared to the other ones. They look a bit, yeah, I can see what he means. They look a bit weak. So we're going to use the old head ones. Some people say you have to replace this, and that's true. But I've used many of these in the past and they've never had to replace them. So it's not necessary. You do not have to replace them. You can if you want, but you don't have to. Oh, come on, baby. Come on. What's holding you back? There's no bolts there. There you go. Cool. That's off. Put that to the side right here. Put the bolts in there. We can put the bolts in here, I'll just say. So the new bolts for the cam bridge will go up in here. These are shims. These shims are meant to go into the little holes seats in the head, and the head bolts will sit on top of this. So they come with a new head, and you can see they're brand new. So just get this off. So I've got the new head on the table right here. I'm just going to quickly go ahead and pour some of this brake cleaner on it. There was a little one-way valve right here which we took off the old head because the new one didn't come with it, and machine shop popped it off for me, and I literally put some lube on it and pushed it back in, so that's also inside as well. Just gonna be liberal with the brake cleaner, clean some of that up, and then literally go ahead and clean the entire block surface. So got a new pair of cloth. I'm going to go ahead and clean this up again. The surface of the block, or the engine cylinder head. There's a lot of oil on the pockets right here in the combustion chamber. It's just because of when they were fitting the valve stem seals. I'm guessing they used a lot of oil. But yeah, so that's gonna, every time I clean it off, a lot more comes off than it needs to. Cool. I'm just keep on cleaning it up. I'm just getting a lot more of the oil residue out of it. There's some few bits left here and there, so I just have to make sure it's nice and spotless basically before I put it in. I'm going over the tissue paper. I will go over with it with a microfiber cloth or some form of a cloth just to make sure, but you have to have this clean. You cannot have this not be clean. It just simply will not flow. You have to have this absolutely spotless. No mistakes here. You cannot make mistakes here. Got myself a microfiber cloth. I'm just gonna quickly go ahead and make sure that I can use this to clean the surface as much as possible. So I'm just gonna go ahead and soak this with brake cleaner, just like that. Go over with every single mating surface point. just like that. That looks phenomenal. Very, very clean. I love it. Love it. Let me just put that here. I'll show you what it looks like up close. If you have a look at that, absolutely spotless. Very, very good. Loving it. So I'm just going to go ahead and now put you guys on the stand, and I'm going to go ahead and install this. Right, let's go ahead and pick this up and fit it onto the engine. Should be somewhat of a straightforward process, but you never know. You never know. So we got exhaust side, that side, so we just need to ideally come from the back like so, just like this. Yeah, we got that one in. Now we just need to get this one in. There we go. Cool. Lovely. Slot it in. Perfect. Awesome. Just a little bit of tricky. I had to get this one in first on this side, and then I went ahead and got the other on the other side to dowel in. That's looking nice and flush. Awesome. It's absolutely awesome. That's looking good. Looking very good. Nothing sticking out, and everything sealed up beautifully. Awesome. Right, the way I normally install the washers or any sort of head bolts is there's a seat right here where the washer sits. I put the lubrication on the seat, I put the washer on top of the seat, then I put lube on top of this washer, then I put lube on top of right here, engine assembly lube on top of just right there on the bolt head. So as I'm putting it in, there is no binding occurring, and I get an accurate torque reading. That's how the way I've done it. I've always done it that way, and it's never failed me. And actually, when I asked yesterday from the engine builder, machine shop, he said the same thing. He said that is literally one of the best way you can do it, because what you do not want is you do not want any false reading to occur anywhere. And engine lube is usually a lot more thicker than engine oil. So if you're using engine oil, it's a bit more runny, it's a little bit more, it will go away quickly, but engine lube does not. That's why I use it. Here are the washers. There's about 10 of them. They look even on both on all sides. They look the same color, and they have these little notches. I'm guessing they dig into the head, so these do not ever come out basically. So as we're torquing them down, we're probably not going to see this come out ever again. I'm just going to get a screwdriver real quick to help me put them in, and we should be good. So I think what we're going to do, not going to use a screwdriver, we're going to use a pick. We're literally going to put the pick in the middle of the head bolt, and yeah, that's it. There you go. This guides it into position basically. So as we apply the hair pressure, that should sort of sit evenly on there. I'll do all of them, and then I'll show you what they look like. Just gonna, I've put lube on all of them. I'm just gonna go ahead and start with the fitting of all these washers on there. So they're going nice and evenly. They've got these little ridges on them, which I'm guessing digs into the aluminium, so they never ever come out, I think, because I couldn't take the old ones out of the old head, and because these come with a new one, I'm guessing these are meant to stay in the car, or in the engine head, sorry. At least that's the idea, I think. I could be totally wrong. Cool. So those are all in. Now we're going to go ahead and put the head bolts on it, and we'll go from there. This is the next and very important part. Right, so let's go ahead and put the head bolts in there. starting off in the middle. Yep. 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 Yep, perfect. Yep. There you go. Put some on here on the end. There we go, and then put some on the end here. Yep. Cool. Now that I've got the head bolts in there, I'm going to go ahead and put the lubrication on the top end of the washer, which will be the equivalent of me putting it on top of the head bolt itself. So I'm just going to go ahead and dabble that in there, just like that. Do the same on this side. Cool. Now you guys are probably saying you could have put it onto the head bolt, it would have been a lot easier, and I forgot. Because I'm just recording, it's a bit of, I want to make sure I get everything spot on. So, we got, yeah. Just going to have to let it sort of drip its way down. So I've done that, they are on. I'll show you what they sort of look like, if you can see. So as the bolt will be rotating, there'll be no sort of dry spots or anything. Should be awesome. Cool. Let's continue. So I've got the tool bit right here. I'm just going to go ahead and clean it up, and I'm going to wind these with the electric ratchet. That means I'm going to wind them in. I'm not going to tighten them up with the electric ratchet. That's you meant to do that with an actual torque wrench and a thing. I'm just going to wind these in. Once they're winded in, then I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of it by hand. This is just to make the process a little bit quicker. That's all it's for. There's no other reason for it. Apart from that, we're basically almost ready for this to be fitted in. So let's do this. Now, before I even attempt to use this electric ratchet, what I will do is I will use my hands, because they're a bit more reliable. So I'm going to wind the bolts in by hand like this, like that. Same on the other side as well. And as I did that, the washers have been centralized. I'm just going to go ahead and take a reading of what the pattern for tightening was. So the pattern for the tightening is like this. I'll show you a picture of that. So we got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. It's basically diagonal. So we got 1, we got 2, we got 3, and then we got 4, we've got 4, yep. 4, we have number 5, number 6, number 6. Number 7 is right here. Number 8 is right here. Number 9 is right here. Number 10 is right here. Cool. So I just winded them all in by hand just for the time being. So I might even need to use the electric ratchet for this. It was just to make sure that we have a good seat. Now what I'm going to do again, I'm going to wind these out again. I'm going to do them by hand again. So I'm going to start off with number 10. Just want to make sure the washers are seating properly. Number 10. Number 8. Sorry, number 9. So let's do that again. So we take the number 9, number 10 off. Wind it all out. A little bit, not all the way. Wind this out. Wind this out. Wind number 7 out. Number 7, number 6 right here. Wind that out. Yep, perfect. Number 5 right here. Number 4 right here. Number 3 right here. And number 2 and 1 here. Cool. Cool. What I just did there was I did them, winded them by hand, and then I undid all of them again. And the reason I did that is to make sure that everything is sitting perfectly. Now we're going to go ahead and do the angle, so the first stage of torquing down on these. So I'm going to wind them in by hand again, and then I'm going to start with the torque process. So we don't even need to use the electric ratchet to wind them in at all. Just went ahead one more time, just put some extra lube around the top of the head of the bolt, so as it's spinning around and it's getting tighter, it shouldn't hopefully no bind or anything. So let's go ahead and wind them in by hand again, and then do the first final torque stage. Cool. So they are done by hand. They've been winded in by hand, so that's awesome. Now comes the most important stage. Right, so we're going to go ahead and do the angle, the first torques on this. The way I've always done head bolt torques is very simple. I started off in the middle as you do. I've done, let's say on this one is 40 newton meters, so I'll do 40 newton meters all around in the same order. Then I'll do them again, 40 newton meters and the 40 newton meters, just to triple check my work. So I triple check my work twice. This one stage I triple check it. The problem with that is I'm consistently tightening it. I asked the machine shop what is the best way to completely spread the pressure on the head gasket evenly, and he said the best thing you can do is do the first torque stage, wait 10 minutes, then back it out a quarter of a turn, and then go back again, and you'll find you get a bit more out of it. So let's say it's 40 newton meters, you do 40 newton meters, you wait 10 minutes, you come back and you back it out, and then you back it back in and tighten it back up to the same 40 newton meters, and you'll find you're getting a bit more of an even pressure. Then you can wait for another 10 minutes after that, and then do the full final torque stage, which is basically 90 and 90 degrees. He said that will level the head perfectly. So let's go ahead and give that a go today. So we are ready to go ahead and do our torques, the first stage, which is indeed 40 Newton meters, and then we are going to do 90 and then 90. So let's go ahead and do the first stage. So I'm just going to use my phone here for the reference of the diagram. I'm just going to take increase the size. So 40 Newton meters, torque wrench. Start off in the middle. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Start off in the middle. Number 1, we do 40 Newton meters. Cool. Let's move on to number 2. Cool. So that's number 2 done as well. Let's move on to number 3. Yeah, number 3 is that, yeah. This does work out your shoulder muscles quite a lot. Cool. So that's number 3 done. Let's move on to number 4. And at this point, the bolt is not stretching. You are just basically applying the starting torque. And as you can see, I don't know, you won't be able to see, but because of putting a lot of the extra lubrication on the head of the bolt and the washer, it's smooth. It's spinning very, very smoothly. There's no binding happening, no stiffness happening. So that's exactly why you put these in there. Cool. So that's number 4 done. Move on to number 5. Cool. Number 5 done. Moving on to number 6. Cool. Number 6 done as well. Let's move on to number 7. Number 7 done. Number 8. Number 8 done. Let's move on to number 9. Number 9 done. And let's move on to number 8. That's number 10, sorry, which is the final one. Cool, number 10 done. Awesome. So now we're gonna wait for 10 minutes, and we're gonna, then what we're gonna do once we wait for 10 minutes is we're gonna go back to number 1. We're gonna back it off a quarter of a turn, and then we're gonna re-torque it again, number 1. Then we're gonna move on to number 2, and this should be perfect. Then we can go on to doing, and then we're gonna wait for another 10 minutes. Then we're gonna move on to the angled side of it. So I'll catch you in a minute. As you can tell, time is up. 10 minutes is up. Let's go ahead and back out number 1 and number 2 and re-torque them again to 90 Newton meters, and this time we're going to use the breaker bar to back them out, and then we're going to use the torque wrench to tie them back up like we would do normally. So I've got my chart sheet ready. Let me just quickly go ahead, load it up, which is right there. Sweet. Let's just put that up. Yep, sweet. Let's go ahead. So starting off with number 1, which we have done as this one here. It's 1 2 3 4 5 1. Yeah, this one, number 1. Yeah, cool. So we're gonna back it out. So we're gonna back it out a quarter of a turn. So we're gonna start off here, about here, and then we're gonna back it out so about there. Then we're gonna get a torque wrench, and then we are going to tighten it back up to 40 Newton meters. So perfect. Awesome. Let's start off with number 2. Number 2, it is gonna do the same. So we're gonna quarter of a turn. Sweet. Go to 40 Newton meters. Cool. Number 2 is done. Let's move on to number 3, which is this one right here. Yep. Also doing this. Quarter of a turn. Yep. Let's go on to the tightening stage, which is 40 Newton meters. Perfect. Number 3 done. Let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is right here. So we are going to start off with, yep. Cool. Now let's go ahead and do the 40 Newton meters. Perfect. Number 4 is done. Let's move on to number 5. Number 5 is the same as well. Should be put that on there. Back it out a quarter of a turn, just like so. And tighten it again to 40 Newton meters. Number 5. Number 5 done. Let's move on to number 6. Number 6 is right here. So quarter of a turn. And then we're just going to go ahead and tighten it up. Cool. Number 7. Number 7 is right here on the edge. So 40, sorry, quarter of a turn, just like that. And you do 40 Newton meters. Perfect. Let's do number 8. Number 8 is on this edge right here. So we're just gonna go ahead and quarter of a turn out. Now we are gonna go ahead and tighten it up. Tighten it up to 40 newton meters and number 8. Perfecto. Number 8. And number 9. Quarter of a turn. Yep. Now we're going to go ahead and turn it up again to 40 newton meters. Perfect. And then just the final one, which is number 10. Let's go ahead and do a quarter of a turn. Is that number 10? Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Cool. Now we're going to do the final 40 newton meters on this, and that will be stage 1 completed, which is the 40 newton meters. Perfect. Awesome. So I just went ahead and obviously I did the first stage, waited for 10 minutes, then backed every single bolter, starting off with number 1, backed it out 45 degrees or quarter of a turn, and then tighten it back up to 40 newton meters, went to number 2, 3, 4 and so on. So that is stage 1 done. Now I'm going to wait for another 10 minutes, and afterwards I'm going to go ahead and do the 90 and then 90 again. Whilst I'm waiting, I've already cleaned the top of the bolts heads off, and I'm going to put a white marker on it so I can basically show me the angle of it. So before 90 and then 90, so we should get a total of 180. So we put the mark on the top of here, and by the end I finished, it all should be pointing towards me. So let's do that. Cool, let's go ahead and mark them up. So we're going to put one here, nice thick marker. We're going to put one here. We're going to put one here. We are going to put one here. We're going to put one here. We're going to put one here. We're going to also put one here, one here, one there, and one just right there. So once we are done, they should all basically be facing towards me. Right now, obviously they're not, they're facing at 12 o'clock, so they should be facing towards, on the first stage they should be facing towards 3 o'clock, and then they should be facing towards the 6 o'clock mark. So let me just show you what they look like as it is right now. Cool. Hope you guys got that. Let's wait for 10 minutes and then we go from there. As you guys can tell, time's up. So we waited for 10 minutes. And now we're going to go ahead and do the 90 degrees and then 90 degrees again. This should be the final torque stage. So I already made the marks on the bolts. So let's just load up the picture one more time. Let's get my breaker bar slash big ratchet. The reason I'm using a ratchet compared to like a breaker bar is because it doesn't have enough slop on it. So as I'm putting it on, there's not enough, I get like almost a perfect angle, if that makes sense. So with the, usually I find with a breaker bar you get a lot more slop out of them, so hence why I don't like using them. But with this I usually find that I'm pretty damn accurate. Let's go, let's begin. It's perfect. Number 1 is perfect. Number 2. Perfect. Number 2 is on there as well. Number 3. Perfect. Number 4. Number 4 is there as well. Number 5. Number 5 is also on there as well. Number 6. Perfect. Number 6 is there as well. Number 7. Number 7 is also on there as well. Number 8. Number 8 is there as well. Number 9. And finally number 10. Perfect. First stage done. Let me just quickly show you guys what it looks like so you can have an idea. So as you probably able to see, all the little dots on top of the head bolts are pointed towards the 3 o'clock position, just like they should. And now we're going to go ahead and do the final 90 degrees, which means they should point towards the 6 o'clock position, and they should be done. Let's go ahead and let's do the final stage. This is going to be very tricky. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a hell of a lot of force on it, but let's see if we can make this work. Perfect. Number 1 done. Number 2. Number 2 is done as well. Number 3. Number 3 is done as well. Number 4. Number 4 is done as well. Number 5. Number 5 is done. Moving on to number 6. Number 6 done as well. Number 7. Number 7 is done as well. Number 8. Number 8 is done as well. Number 9. Number 9 done as well. And number 10, the final one. Perfect. All done. All done. That was tight. They have to be tight. That was tight. Awesome. All done. Let me just show you guys what they look like. So as you can see, all the bolts are facing towards the 6 o'clock in the little dots. All perfect. All ready to go. Head is officially on. Not moving at all. Lovely. Done. Finished. Let's continue. The final bit of the head bolts sequence is this little I think they're M4 bolts made of aluminium. They're meant to be 4 Newton meters and then 90 degrees. So basically I don't have a torque wrench that can go down to 4, but I'm going to say nip them up by hand and then do 90 degrees. So starting off with these here, I've cleaned them up with brake cleaner, the threads on the bolts. Just do these and we are golden. Awesome. Really, really good. Nice and easy. So let me quickly nip them down, torque them up, and then we go from there. I'm just going to go ahead and use the electric ratchet to nip them up. But prior to me doing that, I think it's probably a good idea to put some of the assembly lube underneath of it, just to make sure they don't actually do the same thing as bind or seize or any of that. So cool. So as we are spinning these bolts in, they should basically now be able to sit into their own spot. Cool. 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 And then Cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and give them a little bit of a nip. Yep. 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 Now, instead of doing 90 degrees, I'm going to do just 45 because that is more than tight enough. They're little, small little bolts. Anything too tight, it will rip them apart. So we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're just going to make a little incision. How do we do it? Where should we start? So we're going to make a little mark. So we're going to do it here. Here. Oh, we'll see if we can make them go to 90, but I don't think we might be able to. Let's see. I'm going to use the electric ratchet to do it. So we start off in the oh, look at that. I could get them to 90, so that's fine. Perfect. So we got them to tightish 4 newton meters, and then we did them 90 degrees. So these are perfect. Now I know we might have to remove these to do the timing chain to push the guides in and out, but anyways, that is done. So all the head work is now complete. Now we have all the head work in terms of the torquing of it down. It's all secure. The head is all done. I'm going to go ahead and put the rocker arms as well as the hydraulic lifters inside of them, and basically start working our way through this. Afterwards I'm going to go ahead and put the inlet manifolds and stuff like that on, so basically get it prepared for installation. So we can do as much work as possible. Once we get that all done, I'm not going to put the oil pan on until I get a timing chain kit. That's what we're basically waiting for at the moment. So yeah, let's continue doing that. Normally you're meant to put oil in here, but I think I'm going to put some, because we're not sure exactly when we're going to start this bad boy up. We are going to go ahead and put some of the engine build lubrication onto where the lifters sit. So once they sit in there, they can be nice and lubricated. And then we're going to, on the rocker arms, I'm going to put some oil on there. No, actually I'm going to put some of this as well on the rocker arms. I think we might be worth doing that. So yeah, that's there. Cool. Cool. There we go. Some there. And the whole point of this assembly lube is it's a lot more thicker than normal oil, so it doesn't run away. That's the idea. And the benefit of this is that you get a rocker arm like this. Now they're both the same for inlet and exhaust. I will triple check this, but they are the same. You go ahead and whack it in there, so it's nice and in there. Sorry, there's a phone call, so I got interrupted. But yeah, let me just go ahead and put these in there as well, just like so. They go in there. Sit there. Awesome. Push this in there. Lovely. Put that in there. I already have these assembled because it made it a little bit easier for me to do it basically this way, and it just makes the effort a lot less. So what you can also do, if you wish, you can actually soak these in oil and let them soak up. That'll just make the initial startup a lot more quicker. There won't be no tapping happening. Once the pressure builds up on the oil, then the tapping will go away. But that's what you might get sometimes when you initially do the initial startup. You might be like, oh, why there's so much tapping? It's because we haven't received the oil pressure yet. So that's what that's all about. Awesome, they're going in there nice. Put that in there as well. Lovely. That's the exhaust side done. They are the same on the exhaust and the inlet. They don't look different. The size wise, they're not different. Because that's the mistake I made on the Golf R. I put the exhaust on the inlet and inlet on the exhaust, or vice versa, one or the way. And yeah, we had no compression after build up, and yeah, that was a bit of a scary, interesting moment. So I had to take it all apart again. Always take pictures when you're working on cars, always. Cool. Got this one. That is the final one. Awesome. Cool. Awesome. I'm just going to put this little cap here. This is just for the camshafts, so I'm just going to leave that here. I'll put that back in the bag actually. All done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this up in engine assembly lube so we do not get a dry startup. Awesome, that's done. I'm just going to go ahead and lube this up like this. Yep, this is for the camshaft journal. This is where the camshaft rides on, or the bearings I should say, journal bearings, similar sort of things anyway. Cool. Now the reason you should use this instead of using engine oil, because as you can see, it's sticky, it will stay there for a long time and it won't wear out. So by the time it comes to putting the camshafts in, when you spin them up initially to start it up, they will not be dry. So we got that all sorted, and I think I need to shoot off to do a few things. We'll continue with this later on today, build up the front end of it off, maybe put some of the back stuff on there, and go from there really. Alright guys, so I just went ahead and continued with the rebuild of the Mark 6 GTI. Just a couple of days later from the last couple of clips that you'll be watching. Just been a bit busy, so I thought I'd just continue with it today and see how much I can get done. Camshafts are on their way. I'm just doing most of the other stuff, so when I'm ready I can just go ahead and put the camshafts on here and then just go ahead and bolt them all up. So yeah, so far I put the 2 studs on here, which I've taken from the old head. So essentially the idea is I put them in there, put the injectors in there in the meantime, basically get this ready as much as possible, get the other side ready. So all that will be left to do is put the camshafts on it, secure them down, do the timing chain, seal it up, put the gearbox on, and then put it in the car. At least that's the idea anyway. So let's continue. First thing we're going to be doing today is the runner flaps, or the runner dividers I should say. I'm going to be going ahead and putting them into their slots, just as one less thing I can have to do. So these, I believe, go like this. Yep, perfect. Yep, there you go. the other one is, so essentially these two nibs, they point outwards, but you can see this is not in the middle. This divider is actually offset, so it's up towards the high, so you got to put it like this, so it's facing, so the divider is facing high, not like this, which as you can see is on the bottom end. This needs to be on the top end, so it literally needs to just go like that, and then the same on the other side, and that's it. And dividers are in there. We can now go ahead and see if we can find where the injectors are, put them in there, and work our way from there. Right, so I've managed to find the fuel rail, which is still currently attached to the inlet manifold, and I'm going to go ahead and put some of the grease on the Teflon seals right here, and I'm going to whack them inside and then put the inlet manifold on. A lot of you guys might be saying right now that it's a good time to test the injectors, take them to like RTEC or anyone who does the injector testing, like AKS for example. But I just want to see this car run, see how it runs, if it runs good, bad, if it works, if everything is good, and basically we can always go from there, because the inlet manifold on these is not particularly tricky to remove compared to something like the Golf R ones. The early EA888s were a little bit easier, the older ones, but the newer ones are not. So I just thought it'd be a great idea just to see if everything is working first of all, and then kind of go from there. So next stage will be just me installing this. I just thought I'd do just a quick one, show you guys something. On these they have something called inlet runner flaps, and the whole point of them is they tumble the air to make it mix a lot better with the fuel, so you get a much cleaner, much more efficient burn. Now a lot of people on the early Mark 5 GTIs and so on, they used to do a delete kit for these. Now this particular Mark 6 comes with the EA888 Gen 2 engine. So at the moment I've done some research, but I couldn't find a delete kit for this, so I'm leaving it standard. And the other reason I'm leaving it standard is because I'm not sure if this will be it'll have any effect on the throttle body, on the throttle response. I think it does, because the whole point of this is it tumbles the air and makes it efficient at low speeds. The other thing as well is, as you can probably tell, they are working perfectly, every single one of them. There is no binding happening. I try to do my best to clean the end of them, but because I didn't want to put any pressure on them, being the fact that this is an original manifold, I didn't want to break them. So at the moment we are leaving them standard. We didn't do much of a cleaning on them because they're not really particularly dirty. But the other fault with these as well that occurs is around this shaft right here. This is where the armature goes here. There tend to be over time air leaks coming from here, and the fix for this is something like ECS Motorsport 034 Motorsports. I think those kind of companies, they develop like a bush kind of kit which goes in there and basically fixes that bush so the air doesn't come out of it and causes a problem. Sometimes I've heard that those do not work and you have to buy a whole new manifold. Let's hope we do not have the same problem on this particular car. So I'm going to go ahead and whack this in and basically continue on from that point on. Right, let's go ahead and see if we can put this inlet manifold in there without any issues. Hopefully we should be golden. I'm just going to take a few more pictures before I put everything back together. Just quickly go ahead and do that. Let's do this. Cool. Now I know what you guys are thinking, the inlet manifold is really dirty on the top. It's not going to make any difference to us. I'm going to go ahead and I will clean it once I have all of these fitted in there. Nice. This is tricky to fit in. I slid it in perfectly. Spot on. That went in beautifully. As lovely as that. Awesome. Top job. Right, so we got the inlet manifold off and I covered the top of the engine up as well. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the injector injector plugs in there, these little tiny plugs, and I'm going to just make sure that I can go ahead and fit the oil filter housing on there with this still in there, which I think I should be able to. I don't see why not. And basically start doing the rebuild of this side on it at least. And the reason I wanted to go ahead and do that before anything else is because if I put the inlet manifold after the oil filter housing after the inlet manifold, sorry, if I put the inlet manifold before the oil filter housing before the inlet manifold, I will not be able to plug this in. It's very tricky. It's almost impossible. So that's why I'm doing like this. First, I'm going to put this on. Then I'm going to put that on, and I think it should be fine. I've also ordered a new gasket for that too. So hopefully we should be golden. I'm going to put you in a time lapse, and we're going to basically go from there. Right guys, as you can see, I have tightened the inlet manifold on this down. I haven't done everything else, just literally just tighten the bolts up and put the injector plugs in there as well, and a few other plugs as well. So we're just going to continue on with the oil filter housing on this side, just get that out of the way as well, and then we're going to go ahead and just tidy up the front end as much as possible. Check it out guys, so we got the inlet manifold, sorry, we got the oil filter housing right here. Now you got the oil cooler right here, and there's a little nib on here which goes into the water pump, oh sorry, the thermostat housing. Oil filter right here, there's a black bit here, do not lose this, otherwise you'll have no oil pressure. And then we got the two oil pressure switches right here, the sensors, as you can call them as well. And then on the back here we got a gasket. I've ordered a new gasket for this simply because whilst I'm there I might as well just change it. It's £10 from VW and I thought it was worth it. It's a little bit dirty. I'm going to try my best to clean it out, but my most important task is to make sure the inside of this is clean rather than the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and dump a lot of the brake cleaner in there and just whack this back on the car, and hopefully everything should be golden. So first thing I'll do is I'm going to clean the outside of this, and then I'm going to go ahead and clean the inside of this, and then I'm going to go ahead and whack it onto the engine. This particular one happens to have one of the really bad design where if you want to take the timing cover off, you got to basically come and take off this bolt here. That will take off the tensioner. Otherwise it's very, very tricky to take off the tensioner without with the timing cover without having the tensioner in the way, because you can't access one of the bolts in here. But yeah, this is what it looks like. Let's go ahead and clean this up and make our way. Right, so I went ahead and I've cleaned all of this out. I'm just going to go ahead one more time, clean the deck of this so it mounts very flush onto the cylinder, onto the engine block. This is the old gasket I took out, and it doesn't feel like rubber, it feels like plastic. Can you hear that? A rubber's not meant to make that kind of noise, so I didn't damage it, but I had to replace it because it is the original. And don't use a blade because you will end up breaking. As you can see, there's two pieces of a blade here. Use a pick, preferably a pick like this, and just slowly work your way around it, and it should be nice and easy to come out. Next thing we're gonna do is gonna use this blade to clean the deck of the block, which will basically be just like going like this. Deck of the oil filter housing, I should say, not the block, and basically get ready for the installation of it. So I'm gonna go and get the new seal, put it in here, and we should be ready to go ahead and install this. So let's do that. As you can probably tell, I have put the new seal on the oil filter housing and we are ready for an install. But prior to me installing it, I'm going to put some grease on this right here. This fitting goes into the thermostat housing and the water pump, and it goes at an angle, so I've got to make sure that it's nice and secure and it's nice and in there, otherwise we'll have a leak. So let's go ahead and take care of that, and then I'm going to put you on a time lapse, and then we're going to install this into the car. Right, so as you can probably tell, I had the oil filter housing put on there. It went in nice and smoothly. There was no issues at all. However, as I installed it, I noticed something. As I'm going to be putting the timing cover on, these one bolt back right here will be very difficult to access. Now I've just nipped up this. I haven't fully installed it, like in the sense I haven't torqued it down or anything, so there's a chance that I might have to take it back out. Hence why you might just see me do it by hand. So I will find the torque specs and I will install it properly, but off camera I'm going to quickly have a go to see if it will be possible to put in the timing cover, and without having to mess about with the tensioner. If need to be, then I'll just pull the tensioner out from the back right here, so it should be easy enough anyway. Pull the tensioner out, do the job, put it back in, and we should be golden. But just, yeah, this design is not particularly brilliant, but yeah, and you can remove this pulley, but still you'll have the same problem. So let's continue. You know, the inlet manifold is nice and tight. That is on. Everything is beautiful. Let's continue.